greet the seventh bride.
To greet the seventh bride. Lechatoti likakala yadai 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 ne Shabbat ne Kabbalat. Lechatoti likakala yadai 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 ne Shabbat.
Yeah, for one reason is that I didn't have the permit to share, so that's what I checked on my phone. That's what I came, what's going on, but I just reconnected and it's good now.
But he turned off the microphone, maybe that screwed us up.
Oh, maybe, but now it's good.
Okay, Hudson Cottage 263 if memory serves me correct. Yes, please be seated, I'm sorry. Do you want to do it in English or Hebrew?
Let's do it in Hebrew.
So,
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bibarno ma'arvi v'aravim, b'chokhmah p'tei sharim, v'betbuna, v'neshonei b'kimu ma'chaliv ha'rabbanim, asher hakol chavim v'rishnetem yakir kitzono. Yom v'layla golel mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, v'mavir yom u'mevir layla, v'mavir yom u'mevir layla, Adonai tzvaot shalom. Chai v'chayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam vayed, Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'arvi v'aravim.
can we just, let's do this in English from 256?
If
That
you
you
want.
want, and then you.
I'm fine either way.
Okay, let's do it in English.
In each age we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment we are impressed by the world. In each age we are challenged by our ancient teaching. In each moment we stand to face the truth. In each age we add our wisdom to those that come before. At each moment our heart is filled with wonder. In each age the children of Torah become its builders and seek to set the world firm on the foundation of truth. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai On page 268. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'kol levavecha v'kol nafshecha v'kol me'odecha v'hayu ha'dvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'mibahaycha v'shivtecha v'techa uvlektecha ha'derech uv'shoftecha uv'kumecha uv'kshatcha leot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot beinecha uv'chtatam al mezuzot v'techa uv'hisharecha L'ma'an tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzitem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'hiyot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem
You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day, and impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home, and when you are away, when you lie down, and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on the gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments, and be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai.
Amen. Hey, you guys realize we put this in the little mezuzah prayer on our doors? The Orthodox wear them on their heads and on their arms. Actually, it's the left arm, I think. And that's why the prayer is important to know what it means in English as well as Hebrew. So I always take I always sort of do it in English because we never do as well as Hebrew.
Well, though we escaped the tyranny of Egypt, our people saw the power of the Most High. We live God's presence through these time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes us free. Nicha Mocha on page 270. Nicha Mocha Ba'elim Adonai, Nicha Mocha Nehedar HaKodesh, Nora Tehilot Oseh Feleh, Nora Tehilot Oseh Feleh, Mahutecha Rahuvanecha, Lokea Yavutei Moshe, Zeli Anu Ve'amaru, Adonai Lo, Adonai Lo, Le'olam Vayeh. Adonai Yaakov, Golom Chazak Mimenu, Baruch Atah Adonai Kal Yisrael.
Yeah, I can't do the new Hashkivim, so we have to do it.
We'll do it in English.
I can do it in Hebrew, I just can't do the new one.
Spelling?
Oh no, the rabbi has a new one,
Oh, okay.
but I don't know what.
Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'akol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
Visham.
Visham b'nei Yisrael HaShabbat, Lasot et HaShabbat ledorot ha'arit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael HaShabbat, Lasot et HaShabbat ledorot ha'arit olam. Be'ni uvein b'nei Yisrael, Oti le'olam, Oti le'olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, Lasot et HaShabbat ledorot ha'arit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, Lasot et HaShabbat ledorot ha'arit olam. Uvayom hashvi, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, Lasot et HaShabbat ledorot ha'arit olam.
Rise for Tefillah on page 273.
Adonai sefatai gitahu via gita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Ve'koneh Hakol, Ve'nocher Kasei Avot v'Imahot, U'mehi Gula Lifnei Bneihem, Leman Shelo ve'Ahava, Melech Ozer Mashiach Magi, Magen Abraham Bezgat Sarah Atagi Wole Lavanan Ayako Ram Hoshia Morita Ta Nefael Kain Beches Nefayem Apo Berachimati So Homet no Flim Derofem Holim Umati Hirasurim Umekayem Nato Lishene Afar Micha Oka Al-Gehurot Umito Mehela Melech Benit Umaye Umasniach Yeshua Namanat Hayot Adonai Mekayem Atakadosh Shimcha Kadosh Chol Yom Atakadosh Shimcha Kadosh Kadoshi Chol Yom Halu Hatzela Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. You set aside on the middle of page 277. Let's see it together in English. You set aside the seventh day for your name, the pinnacle of creation, and you blessed above all other days, more sacred than all festival times. So it is written in your Torah. The heaven and earth created all their array. On the seventh day, God completed the work that God had done, ceasing on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, and ceased from all the creative work that God had chosen to do. Eloheinu Eloheinu B'Imoteinu V'Tzeinu Chateinu Kadeshenu B'Mitzvotecha V'Tenu Kalkeinu B'Toratecha Sahabeinu B'Tuvecha V'Samachenu B'Shuvatecha V'Kareinu Libeinu V'Ha'chilenu Adonai Eloheinu Be'ahava u'v'ratzon Shabbat V'Shecha V'Yanuchu V'Yisrael V'Kadeshesh Mecha Baruch Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Say Adonai Eloheinu ve'amecha Yisrael u'tefilatav ve'ahavat yikapel u'tehi l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael ha'mecha al-karov l'chol karav Hanei al-avdecha v'chaneinu shefochecha aleinu v'techazenu b'shuvcha l'tzion berachamim Baruch atah Adonai ha'machazir shechinato l'tzion ha'machazir shechinato l'tzion modim anachnu la.
How about the English on 281?
Yes. For the good in us, which calls us to a better life, we give thanks.
For
For
the
the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise. For the desire in us to work for peace, we are grateful. For life in nature, harmony and beauty, the hope of tomorrow, all praise is the source of being. For all these things, O Sovereign, let your name be better praised and blessed. Baruch atah Adonai, hatoshimcha uchanat elehodot. Please be seated.
Okay, Shalom.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Le'olam. Ki atahu melech Adon, lechol hashalom. melech adon, lechol ha-shalom, letvov beinecha, levarech et amcha Yisrael, bechol eit ubechol shah bishlomecha. Baruch Adonai, Amavech et Amo Yisrael Shalom. I do believe we were supposed to do another chorus of Shalom.
Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't sing it anymore, so we forgot.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're at,
Yeah.
oh, say shalom.
Prayer, silent prayer and meditation.
Oh, okay.
So.
Prayer of your own heart, or you can read.
Shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru, amen.
Oh, we're giving thanks, so if you have something you're celebrating, something good that's happened, I guess we already spilled the beans on Dan. So if you want to talk more about it, you can. You don't have to. Well, I have something really good that happened, Dad and I and Josh. We actually got to move home from the dialysis training center, and we did our first home dialysis today. And I feel more relaxed than I have since we went into the center. I even got to work.
Anybody else?
Yeah?
My son Ben, he is graduating from the Army helicopter program.
Ooh.
Yeah, so 2 years, and we'll be flying down to Alabama this week for the big graduation.
Yay. Mazel tov.
And of course, this evening we have our nationally acclaimed Carol B. Davis, who will be doing the Devar Via for poetry. And just to see everyone here tonight, and first Nick Underwood and his family, who also has an amazing book out, Yiddish Paris, so we'll be looking at that and celebrating our traditions.
Anyone else? Come on, there's a lot of people here.
Good things must have happened this week.
Well, my thing hasn't quite happened yet, but on Tuesday, I get a new knee.
Do you have chicken soup group alerted? Does it need a little help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, maybe even after lunch, maybe you go to the.
Oh, yes?
Yes.
Yay. Okay, now, prayer for healing.
We don't have a list.
We don't have a, well, yeah, no, we don't, but, so we're just gonna go around the congregation,
And anybody who needs, prayer for healing.
or knows of somebody.
I
Carol?
hear you about getting needy.
Yeah. Okay. We haven't, and Helen Salisbury Bank.
Sylvia Brisbane.
Yeah.
We will sing the Shabbat on page 731.
No, 371.
371, sorry.
You finally taught me where it is, and then you messed up. For years, I didn't know where it was, I just sang it.
I'm just saying. May the source of strength, who bless all ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Those in need of healing, with the flu washing off, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Molly's gonna introduce our speaker, and give it to our Torah.
Shabbat Shalom. It is an honor this evening to welcome back our nationally acclaimed and internationally known, especially in Russia, our poet Carol Reed Davis. Thank you for coming back to Catholic.
That is my second home. I don't know if that's arrogant of me, but I first came to Boise in 2017 for an artist residency at Cyril's Place, and Molly adopted me.
We all did, right?
So, those of you who know me know that I was living in Russia on and off for a long time, and was supposed to go back in 2020 and postponed because of COVID. It would have been, I think, my 12th time. My first year there, I was at the Jewish University in Petersburg on a Fulbright, so very immersed in the Jewish community. And I have a new book out, I'm a poet, and it's focused on Siberia. But I wanted to talk for just a minute about the Torah portion. So I'm vertically challenged here. So I have a few thoughts on Shemitah, which is discussed in the Torah portion. So we all know the traditional laws of Shemitah, of letting the fields go fallow and leaving what is left in the fields for the poor to harvest and to take. A Hasidic interpretation of this Torah portion is bringing holiness to the mundane, a refining of physical reality to elevate the ordinary by bringing in and linking it to the divine. On a metaphoric level, I think we can think of Shemitah as divesting oneself of the mundane or a break from our regular lives. For me, going somewhere new and a place that allows me time to write is a kind of shmita. And that was the case when I first came to Boise. I finished my last book here when I was in Boise. And it's ironically often been the case for me in going to Russia and living in Russia. So you're allowed to laugh, and I hope you do, that going to Siberia in the thick of winter, because I spent 2 Januaries there, could be a kind of shmita, and it was for me. So I'm going to start by reading a new poem that's not in the book about shmita, and then I'm going to read poems from the book. So this poem was published. I've been advising the CCAR, Central Conference of American Rabbis, on Jewish poetry, and this poem was published there last year, Shemitah. This year, the 18th month of the pandemic, is a Shemitah, a sabbatical year, where the land must be left fallow, any remaining crops free for the needy. In the beginning, but there isn't always one, as now lavender layers overlap until darkness spreads to every corner of the sky. My husband tries to extract a word, a stubborn root left for years. It refuses to offer itself for harvest, his once fertile mind eroding to desert. The book of Leviticus instructs the land must be given a rest, its own Sabbath to replenish. But what if a man is desperate to sow and reap, his family dependent on these crops for survival? How much further will my husband retreat? In a year will sentences disappear as when the whale swallowed Jonah whole? God promises bountiful harvests. This month, as others welcome the new year, it is hard to celebrate. So I know it's nice and warm in Boise right now, but I'm going to transport you to a colder climate and come with me to Siberia. So this is the first poem in the book. It references the Tanya, which is the Hasidic text, and I think now should be clear. It's called "I'm Flying to Siberia for the First Time." It's true, I was nervous. It didn't help that my local travel agent instructed me to buy the tickets in the US, just in case. Not exactly a believer, I hedged my bets, tucked a copy of a sacred book, the Tanya, in my carry-on. The irony of a Lubavitcher Rebbe exiled to Siberia a century before. Packed the travel icon a friend gave me on my last trip to Russia. I tried to block memory of a news video of flight crews scraping ice off the wings of a Tupolev 154 on the Siberian runway, as routine as de-icing the windshield of a car parked in an upstate driveway. Shuffling in a long line at Gate 34 Sheremetyevo Airport, Siberia Air Flight 115, Moscow to Ulan-Ude, I eyed the other passengers. I was the only American on board. Squeezed near the last row between 2 thick Buryat men, I gripped the armrests as if they were handlebars of a Harley, the task of revving the engine for takeoff, mine alone. An hour in, vast snowfields unfurled, pockmarked by tiny villages spouting chimney smoke. No seat vacant, the hum of conversation quieting, the sky darkening, another 5 hours to go. A mumble of Hebrew rose from my lips for a safe flight and landing, that I be met on the other end, that I would see my family again. So Ulan-Ude is the city where I was based, where I was living, and it's down by the Mongolian border. It's an ethnic minority region where they practice Buddhism and shamanism. So it's a very interesting area. Russian chocolates. I never knew I had patriotism until I moved to Russia. Now I fight the urge to justify all the things I criticized back home. The apartment building staircase reeks of urine. Communal space is not valued here. Cigarette butts mound in the lobby. Piles of dirty snow line the street. Why can't you camp wherever you want to in America? A fellow instructor in Ulaanbaatar asks. We wait to be rescued by the bell. So many topics we cannot understand about one another. How I wanted my children to go away for university, how she will decide her children's careers. My Siberian colleagues like it when I recite all I love about Russia, but suspicious too. They perceive life in the US is easier. What is your background? Living in Russia, I am often asked this question. In America, a code for you don't really belong here. This is not your home. Here, men from the Caucasus are yanked from the metro escalator by police demanding their papers. Back home, men and women of color are pulled over while driving. On a tram the other day, a young man yelled at my landlady to go back to Israel, a country she has never been to. I used to think that would never happen in America, but that was then. On a break between classes, someone has set out a plate of cookies and Russian chocolates, wrapped in brightly decorated foil. Put the kettle on for tea. This ritual, so important, civilizing. So this is from an artist residency I had on Bainbridge Island off the coast of Washington. It's called Licorice Fern. 1. Leaves are falling from the maple and black cottonwood, a rain of green so beautiful I forget it's because of the drought. The alder cannot hold on to its little serrated boats. I start to count types of ferns, sword fern, lacy, licorice, an epiphyte on the branches of big leaf maples. They say this fern will survive even if the moss dries, rehydrating after winter rains. We think they are delicate, but fine-toothed fronds can propel like weapons from the hands of children. 2. Now the calling of birds, flicker, creeper, nuthatch. Counting is habit-forming, such certainty like the counting of days of the Omer, the preparation and anticipation of freedom. 7 weeks, 49 days between the redemption from slavery and receiving of the Torah. There is too much to remember. Why must we be responsible for all the ills? I have told you of the fire and ash, the sun fighting through smoke to show its colors. Now I wait for the fawn to discover its face in the reflection pool, and its mother to track her 2 offspring, to keep them close, to let them wander. I'll read a few more. The next poem actually I wrote in Boise. It's a long poem, so I'm just going to read a little bit of it. I've always been interested in Jewish superstition and where folk tradition melds with practice, and so I was researching and reading a book on magic and superstition in the Jewish world. So this poem uses all sorts of superstitions that used to be in the Jewish community, and a few of them still are. And I'm just going to read the first section, and they all have epigraphs. So the poem is called Of Magic and Superstition. And the epigraph is, one should not believe in superstitions, but still it is best to be heedful of them. And that's from the Sefer Hasidim. 1. Sorcery. Many accused Jews of sorcery, Jewish physicians of poisoning their patients. A man who recovered proved the point. The one who died certified it. Is it better to be thought harnessing black magic and have it validated through restored health, or to fail and have the black magic confirmed? An impenetrable language does not shield a community from attacks, nor does huddling behind locked doors. So the next section is about naming children, and the next about the magic of words. Excuse me. And the last one is about amulets, about Kamsa, which is still in the Jewish community. So I've got amulets, so sometimes it affects that. Thank you. So do I have time for a couple more?
Yes.
Okay. So I went over, so I was living in Ulanu Day, and I wanted to visit Irkutsk, which is a very big city in Siberia. And so I did what Jews do, Jewish geography, which I knew the Chabad in Santa Monica, California, he had a sister who lived in Kharkov, who knew the Rebbetzin in Irkutsk. So I wrote to her and went to visit the Jewish community, which has been there since the Silk Road. So it's a very ancient, old community. And I was staying with a friend of a colleague in Ulanu Day, and they're Buryat is the ethnic minority, and he did something very odd, which will ring a bell when you hear the poem. It's called In Siberia, I Watch My Host. Ilya sits at the kitchen table, open bottle of beer before him, pours half a glass, dips a finger in, taps it on the tabletop. For the house spirits, Marina explains. To appease or nourish, I am not sure, nor what role the ancestors played. In the Irkutsk Historical Museum, a 19th century shaman's wood hangs with strips of metal and a few keys. To summon the spirits for protection or to banish evil ones. I think of our own Passovers, finger dipping in the wine and tapping. Blood, vermin, locusts, the power, the fear. And I'll finish with a poem called Apprentice Shaman. And the sister-in-law of my host at the university was studying to be a shaman. And we went out to Lake Baikal. I've been there, I went there a few times, completely frozen over. And I watched her doing some rituals, which were very much like some of the rituals of Native Americans with pounding a drum, and it was very interesting. So this is called Apprentice Shaman. Days she works in the Soviet-era factory, the lathe creaky as if it had arthritis. Her thick fingers not as nimble as they once were, but nights she studies with a Buryat shaman to prepare for her real work. If the universe is divided into three worlds, the upper, the earth, the underworld, that day on the banks of Lake Baikal, the apprentice shaman hovered among them. Trees hung with ribbons, red for supplication to the sun spirits, green to protect nature, blue for spirits of the sky. We stood on a bank that jutted over the water. Waves of ice were frozen mid-motion, sharp as incisors in the sub-zero cold. The blue so bright it hurt the eyes. Holding a drum tambourine to her chest, she beat and chanted to summon the spirits. That night, we lay on cots in the one-room cabin. A growl escaped her lips as if a Siberian wolf were trapped inside, threatening or protecting. I did not know which. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You doing? You doing? Oh, it counts as the Omar.
Exactly. Before sunset. Alright, we will continue with the counting of the Omer on page 570. Thank you for reminding me that.
Dennis, I bet?
No,
Ooh.
a poet.
Oh,
Ini Mukhan Unzuman Kaim Mitzvat Aseh Shel Slikat HaOmer. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting of the Omer. Not to get my numbers in Hebrew, so I'm going to say it is the 37th day of the Omer after sunset, which is math. What, 5 weeks in 1 day? No, 5 weeks in 2 days? Yeah, 5 weeks and 2 days. And we will continue with Elena.
okay.
Oh wait, after. On page 586. Please guys. Ladon hakol, la tekiru la leotseher bagashit, shalor samakage haratzot, veloho samanu mishpachot adama, shelo sam kalkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, ve'anachnu purim, umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei Melech Malkei Hamlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Notei Shamayim Veyotzer Haaretz Umoshev Yekarov Bashamayim Ima'al Ushchinatu Zo V'govei Meromim Hu Eloheinu Enod Emet Malkeinu Epetulato Kakatu Betorato Vidat Hayom Bahashepot Elabavaka Ki Adonai Hu Elohim Bashamayim Yifal Ve'al Haaretz We think of our loved ones in death as we take in cover. Those who have died as the season years past, and those who we have joined our hearts together with one thing amazing.
I know Henry Fisherman.
What sister? Emma? Warren Klein Senior, Rosie Klein, Rose Klein.
Judith Hutton. My mother, Carol Sullivan.
You can unlock our family, then I make these I invite all mourners and all these cousins to do so, guys, for Mourners College on page 598. Yitadar, Yitadash, Shemei Rabba, Veomar, Hikra, Hirhe, Yamlit, Mahute, Bakayakol, Yomekol, Utaye, the Kobe Israel, Ba'agalah, Bizman, Karim, Devaru, Amen. Yehesh, Nere, Baba, Mevorach, Leolam, Omeomaya, Yitbarach, Yishbar, Yitbar, Yishaman, Yitnase, Yitadar, Yitalay, Yitalal, Shmei, Yishar, Beredu, Leolam, Kobe, Kakabeshirata, Tushkata, Hatanaka, Yaman, Yalma, Yulu, Amen. Yehesh, Rabba, Shemaya, Bakaim, Olivia, Koyasai, Zibaru, Amen. Say shalom, Gurma, Guya, say shalom, Olivia, Koyasai, Zibaru, Amen. They come to be involved. So, guests first or announcements?
Yes.
Yes.
I see a lot of people I don't know.
Alright, so do we have a bit of a silly question, which I never faced now. Are there any guests here today who would like to introduce themselves?
Okay.
So, I'm Nick Underwood, we are guests tonight, we're with our family. More and.
Welcome.
My name's Grace, I'm a student of mix over at the Kabbalat Shabbat. And it was a great experience as well.
Okay.
He's an alumni of the
Well,
college.
no, that's true, yes.
Nice.
I lived in Boone, so, okay,
Anyone else? Okay, okay, after services tonight, we'll have Kiddush in the social hall. There's a dinner tonight, of taquitos. I hope you guys are joining us. I'll give a plug for what I can remember, and if somebody else remembers something I don't remember, please shout it out. I believe we're having a congressional meeting on the 21st. And the other thing I want to shout out about for sure is the retreat on the lake. Because that's on Memorial Day weekend. We go up on Friday, we spend the Sabbath there, have breakfast Sunday, and we come home. It's a lot of fun. I'm going, even Dad's going, and if he can go, everybody can go. And we're all, it's a lot of fun. It's fun for kids, it's fun for old people, it's fun for everybody in the children. What else am I forgetting? Oh, we have Sabbath services tomorrow at 10. I think you're leading the lead with you and your company. Yeah, anything else?
any other announcements?
And just support, doing service tonight. Thank you, Josh. Thank you so much.
When I first started doing it, it was just chutzpah. Because nobody seemed to want to do it too much. And I barely knew the service to go through it. And I'd sort of get myself through it. And as my children became older and older, they were well trained by our religious school and our rabbi. All of a sudden, I only really had to stand there and maybe write a Devar Torah. And now, baby's 30 and they've done a pretty good job. Okay, we're gonna do Elia's closing
Yeah, I
thoughts.
just need to find it in the book so I can get the page number. Yes, page 653.
Elia. 653.
At the bottom of 653.
Let's see.
Eli, Eli, Shelo Yigamer Leolam, Hakol V'Hayam, Rishus Shel Hamayim. sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
They would go first.
No, why don't you go?
Yeah, but I think I have to, I want to show it that we have, there's What is? I'm just.
She had a very short turning radius.
She'll probably answer.
There's one in the middle. No, so if
We don't sit that way. Okay, ready to go? I don't know whether Debbie sent it back up or not. Okay. So there you, now we know where it is, right? And it's a place where you can see, right? Huh? Right.